Thank you for coming today. It was about 25 hours ago that I learned that we needed to have this press conference, and my goal was to be prepared, ready, and make a decisive move if we needed to. And it was important to move quickly, but only if we had the right guy. We have the players returning, coming back next week. Contact period for recruiting starts again Friday. Signing date coming up the first Wednesday in February. But during the time previously, Rocky Long convinced me he was the right guy. And that's why we're here today and not on a search that could have taken weeks and lost critical momentum and progress of the program. Before we had an opening, I reached out to make sure Rocky was interested. We wanted to make sure we had a person who fits what we wanted in our head coach. The traits and qualifications that we want in our football coach are integrity, character, passion for teaching and coaching, are putting the student-athlete experience first, experience as a head coach, and success as a head coach. This is an important hire, and I don't need to tell you that it's not just for today, but for many years to come. And we're very fortunate to have a coach of this caliber and qualifications on staff. This past season was a start, and it was a great turnaround, and winning the Poinsettia Bowl was very fun, and everyone enjoyed it. The student-athletes and coaches made it happen, and we all got to have a lot of fun around it. We're thankful to Coach Hoke, the players, and the staff that accomplished that 9-4 record, but it's important to continue that momentum. Coach Long played a huge role in that success. Rocky has been instrumental in this turnaround and has helped lay the foundation for where we are today. He's been familiar with our program for a long time, and now, because of the past 2 years, our players are familiar with him. I've known Rocky and his success prior to coming here as AD, his role as an assistant at Oregon State, UCLA. His daughter Hannah was a scholarship volleyball player at Portland State when I was the AD there. Just kept up with him and the success of his career. What is really impressive of his history as a head coach in the Mountain West Conference. His teams were bowl eligible in 7 of his final 8 seasons. And an important note, in the 15 years prior to Rocky, there were only 3 winning seasons in those 15 years. I'll let Coach Long express the feelings of where he believes San Diego State can go from here, but I can tell you it involves winning and championships. Rocky's a very special coach, and he can bring this program to places we have never been before. It's going to take a great effort from him, our coaches, our student-athletes, but also our alumni and friends that support this program and want to compete to the very best. We made a huge jump this past season, but by no means have we reached any glass ceiling. I would now like to introduce the 18th head football coach at San Diego State University. Please welcome Coach Rocky Long.
Pretty good crowd. I'm a little surprised you're all here, but let me first thank San Diego State, Jim, President Weber, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I had choices over the last couple of weeks. I've had choices to be someplace else, but when you're around here and you see what this place can be and how special it can be, there was absolutely no choice in my mind. I'm excited. Maybe I don't sound like it because I'm not on a football field where I yell and scream, but it's really exciting to me to be given another chance to be a head coach at a place that I think can be successful, and there's a lot of things that will not change. I thought Coach Hoke did an amazing job getting this program started in the right direction. The foundation has been poured. It is not solid yet. There's a long way to go before we are going to be considered a great program. But everything is in place here that we can be a great program. And to have the opportunity to be the head coach at a place that has so much potential is unique Not many guys get that kind of chance, and they don't get that kind of chance a second time especially. So I'm appreciative. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous because I know how good it can be, and when you go into the unknown, you're not sure that you're the guy that can get it done. But that's only a little 10% in my mind, because I think we're going to be really good. I think we're going to continue to be good. I think that the thing has started, and the transition with a guy that was here and saw how it was done and plans to make very little change to how it's going to be done. I think the Mountain West Conference Championship is the first goal and will always be the first goal. But I don't think it will stop there. I mean, there's teams in our league that go to BCS games and win the BCS games. There's absolutely no reason that cannot be us. No reason whatsoever. Now, it's going to take a lot of hard work and with a lot of good players, and this is the most I've ever talked in one setting in my life. But so maybe I'll stop. But one more thing: the most important thing in any program, are the student athletes in your program. And we are blessed with really good guys in our football program. Good football players that have learned to work hard, learn what's important, not just football, what is important in their life, and know how to act and be appreciative and how to treat people. That, I promise you, will not change. You want anything else?
We'll open up for any questions.
Rocky, you going to continue to run the defense?
That's still in the process. I have a couple people that understand our defense. There's only a couple because it's so unique, that I trust, that I'm trying to entice to come here as we speak. And if I get one of those two, no, I won't run the defense. I'll let them do it. If I can't get one of those two, there's no reason to change. I'll run it. I've done that in the past where I was the head coach and ran the defense. I'd much rather, part of the positive of being a former head coach and you have 2 years to sit back and watch, you can see the things you did wrong and hopefully do them better the next time. And I think a head coach needs to be separate from being a coordinator, if at all possible. But we're not going to change the defense, and I believe in it, and we're going to get a whole lot better at it. So if I can't get the right guys, I'll do it. I'm going to try to go outside. What we've done on offense in the past here, the last 2 years, I think we've made tremendous strides. We've got a great quarterback coming back. There's absolutely no reason to change, so you have to find the guy that can come in and continue the same system. And there's 2 or 3 of them out there, and I've had some positive feedback from them.
You had a few commitments. Have you had a chance to talk to any of those commitments yet to make sure they're coming here? Or
I haven't personally made contact with all of them, but every one of them has been contacted. Every commitment seems to be solid. Over the next, starting on Friday, over the next week, we will personally see every single one of those kids to make sure that they still want to come here. We are still in the process of recruiting a couple of very good football players, local football players that we hope we can still entice. I'd tell you who they were, but that's against the rules.
Ron, you're the third head coach in less than 2 years here at SDSU. Can you give us any thought on how long you plan to be here, or is this it's been a stepping stone for a lot of people, or?
You see my hair? This is not a stepping stone for me, I'll promise you that. If I'm honest with myself, which I usually am, and I'll be honest with everybody I come in contact with, whether I say the right thing or not, I will be honest. This is going to be my last coaching job. I hope it lasts 10, 15, 20 years. I hope I'm on the sidelines like Joe Paterno. But this is going to be my last coaching job, and so I better make it my best coaching job.
So, Rocky, your contract is signed. There's no doubt about that.
Well, I haven't signed a contract, but I've signed a term sheet. I didn't know what it was called, but yeah, I signed a term sheet. Sure.
What's the buyout?
Well, you know, no, they won't have to buy out my contract. I just hope they don't want to run me out of here.
Can you tell us the length of the contract?
5 years. Now, if we start getting in details, to be honest with you, I didn't look at it real close. I'm not one of those kind of guys. I mean, they're going to pay me really, really well, and that doesn't matter either. I coach because I love to coach, and you guys sitting in the back, I love to win too, just like you do.
When were you first approached for the job?
Oh, I think we started bowl practice, and Jim contacted me because Brady was getting some interest, and he just asked me if something happened with Coach Hoke, if I'd be interested. And I said, sure. And then we didn't talk and very little until about a day ago, or whenever, 25 hours ago? Yeah. I mean, just here lately. But we did talk a little bit, 5-10 minutes at bowl practice. If something happened with Coach Hoke, would I be interested in the job?
In your mind, when did it become probable that Coach Hoke would leave?
When he called me on the phone and said he was leaving. I mean, you can drive yourself crazy watching the ticker tape on TV, and I mean, everybody in the world's getting the job, and normally it's a secret guy out there someplace. So I didn't know if he had an honest chance for the job now, and he did not communicate with most of us until after he took the job, and then he called and communicated.
And was that the last time you talked to him?
That was the last time I talked to him. Mm-hmm.
Anybody you go to Michigan?
Let me say that I had the opportunity. Yeah.
When was the last time you've actually seen Brady?
Good question. What was today? Monday. We had a staff meeting at 8:00, and we went over recruiting and academics and that sort of thing. And he walked out of the office about 9:30. I haven't seen him since.
Was the possibility of leaving to go to a program like Michigan attractive to you at all?
It would have been, but it's not, because I was given the opportunity to stay here. It certainly would have been if I wasn't given that opportunity. But this is a much better deal. I mean, and I'm not talking about anything about being a head coach or anything. This is a better deal. We've got things started here. They got a lot of work to do there.
Rocky, what's going to happen on September 24th?
I think we play 3 games before that. I'll worry about that when we get there.
Rocky, was there a time after New Mexico when you thought you didn't want to be a head coach anymore?
Exactly, right afterwards. But here, well, I'm going to give you a little secret. I have a theory about head coaches. They have a disease, and it becomes part of your personality. And once you've been one, you always want to be one. And just when bad things happen to you, you go, what in the heck am I doing this for? And then as soon as the bad things slip away, you go, golly, I wish I could be a head coach again. That really is a secret. No, I don't think that's a secret.
Rocky, what did you learn about yourself when you stepped away from that head coaching role as a defensive coordinator the last 2 years, and got to kind of take a step back? What are you looking forward to getting back into that role?
Well, I found out that I really like drawing cards, because I hadn't drawn cards. You know what cards are? You draw a card so the scout team can run the play, and you use little crayons and stuff like you're in kindergarten. And I hadn't drawn a card for 11 years, and it was really fun. Now I did enjoy that, and I enjoyed game planning, but I did that as a head coach too. What I enjoyed the most was watching someone else be the head coach after I'd been one, and learning from him what you liked, what you didn't like, some things that he did very, very well that you go, well, why didn't I, when I had a chance, why didn't I do it that way? I think the best thing about the whole deal was that I learned a whole lot more than I thought I would learn about being a head coach. Some I don't agree with either, by the way. I mean, he didn't do everything right.
What's the mood of the current players? I know you had a chance to talk with them about this transition right now, or is it just too soon?
Well, we had a little meeting, and only because school didn't start for a week, there was only about 20 of them that made it there. So we just visited, and what I told them was now there was the time to ask questions and give any input they had, because as soon as this press conference was over, they give no input unless I ask for it. So the real meeting will be about a week from now when the whole team's here, so that we can. There are some amazingly good things that have been started here, and we're not going to change them. We're just going to improve them. We're going to make them better. And the keys to everything are the players buying in and continuing what they've started, realizing that we haven't reached any place that we want to be yet.
Coach, you talked a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. What about a new offensive coordinator? You talked a little bit about Ryan, but what direction? Have you talked to anyone on that side of it?
Yeah, I've talked to 2 or 3 offensive guys that would be offensive coordinators that are in their belief and the way they do things are just like it's been done here the last 2 years. Even so much so that we have talked about language terminology, so none of that changes. So the guy with the experience, the coach with the experience, he's the only one that has to learn new names for formations and new names for plays, where the players don't have to. There's a couple, 3 guys out there that run almost exactly the same offense that have had similar success. And I've had some positive feedback from them. Now, there's one that I would love to get here that's going to take me a couple weeks, 3 weeks to convince him, but you'll all be happy with who he is. Now, that's recruiting.
Rocky, what would you say to the players and maybe the fans who may have some bitterness towards Brady for leaving late as he did?
Well, I wouldn't understand that bitterness. I mean, Brady did a great job while he was here. He was given the opportunity to get the job that he's dreamed of getting. There's nobody in this room that would not take the job that they've dreamt about since they were a little kid. So there's no reason to be mad. In fact, I'm glad he's gone because I'm standing up here.
Your opening remarks was that the foundation was poor. What were you referring to there, and what?
Well, I've read that the foundation has been set. It's not set. I mean, we've got a long way to go before the foundation is hard, that we can start building up from there. And I'm not a construction guy, so it's been poured. It's in there, but it's drying. No. Pouring, I'm sorry. Am I talking like a Texan? Because sometimes I do, especially if I'm recruiting in Texas, y'all.
Do you have any idea how many coaches you're going to lose?
I do, but I'm not going to say, because they are in constant contact with me and Brady. So I have a feel for how many I'm losing and how many are staying. I have a feel for that, but I'm not giving up yet.
Does it make it doubly difficult at this stage in the middle of January when you're recruiting and you got to recruit coaches on top of it?
It would if we didn't have commitments. We as a staff, before Brady left, we had done a really good job of recruiting and are way ahead in the recruiting process. So as long as the ones that we know are going to stay here and work here, as long as we do a good job keeping those commitments, there is time to recruit coaches. if we were out hunting recruits and trying to find recruits and trying to develop a recruiting process, you couldn't recruit coaches until recruiting was over. But we're ahead of the game in recruiting, and as long as we can keep them in the boat, we're in good shape.
There hasn't been any, oh boy, Rocky got the job, I'm going there now.
No, have you? I wish that would happen. I'd ask for a raise.
One of the things that Coach Hope did before he left was get raises for his assistants and get some assurances from the athletic department about facilities and so forth. Is that stuff still intact?
God, that's a great question.
Yes, the commitment in place for football, and actually Ron Fowler was on the radio this morning. His commitment was not based on Brady Hoke. It was a commitment to San Diego State, the progress of the program, and so the commitment to advance football, continue to do the things that we need to help win championships. That commitment's in place.
Jim, did you actually get permission? Did you actually ask permission this time to talk to Brady?
No, I did not. I never heard from them, no. But, yeah, it's, it is what it is, yeah.
Jim, in retrospect, should you have gotten Brady's signature on that contract you announced? We had some things left on it that weren't finished, so that's why there wasn't a signature. But then over the past 3 weeks, we were ready, but did not get that. They weren't all done yet, and it's a matter as far as the buyout. That was probably the most important thing you're asking about. It was to make a contract. You have two people have to agree, and there was some disagreement about the buyout, and we had settled on some parameters. But to tell you, either way, it was going to be $1 million for Michigan to have if he was going to Michigan. That was one consideration that we had in there that we weren't settled on. We were pretty close, but it was either way, the current contract or the contract in the future was going to be that. Clear. What you're saying is that if he was somebody else, it'd be $1 million.
It'd be $1.5 million. Yeah.
You would not agree to the Michigan distinction?
We were still working on that language.
Do you feel like you lost out on that $500,000 for your program?
No, because as I said, we currently had a contract. We weren't going to go below $1 million. I felt it was important that Brady not go to any other place, and that's what he kept telling me. And if Michigan was the one job that he wanted to go to, that okay, I'll work with you on that one, but nowhere else.
How did he notify you that he was leaving?
By phone. And yesterday about 11:30, something like that.
When did you think this was a probability?
I'm kind of with Rocky. I think up until about 11:30. I guess I saw in the news Les Miles turning down, or them not agreeing to him being the next coach and saying he's staying. Then I thought that then it's a high probability. But I'm with Rocky that I thought maybe there was somebody else that they were talking to too. But in the end, it was Brady.
You continue to be very, I want to say, cordial about this whole event. Why do you choose that attitude?
Who says I'm cordial? I mean, you can be respectful. I'm thankful for what Brady did, but as far as I'm not happy it happened. I'm not. It's fine for Brady. I can tell you because of who's standing next to me. When I met with him 2 days ago, I became more and more excited if there was a change, and that's where I am today. And I'm very excited to have Rocky Long as our head coach. Not only continue the momentum in the building, but I think elevating that.
and I think he can do that.
Was there any consideration to look outside here?
Yes, if Rocky was not interested.
Who's your first choice?
Yes.
Did you ever ask Al or ever talk to Al before Al leave?
I talked to Al. One of the criteria was having head coaching experience, and Al has not had that, so he was not considered as a head coach. Certainly wanted him to stay if Rocky wanted him to stay.
You've been an AD for a long time now, and there's 2 Big Ten schools who recruited your head coach without your permission. Doesn't that bother you any? Or?
Yeah, it's not great for the business, no. But, in fact, Nick, even, thinking to the, legislative, do we get into something like with the NCAA to legislate something that, contact cannot be made during the season, those kinds of things, and maybe it's something that's a future from a legislative standpoint, but each of the institutions would have to agree to that.
You have a legal claim against Michigan?
I do not. No.
You had a coach under contract.
Right. Yeah.
They have a right to pursue him nonetheless without permission, in your mind?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but I think there's nothing in the language, I think, from the contract of saying that another school can't contact it, but the coach has to notify when they do.
Were you notified by Brady?
Yes.
And when was that?
The first time? Well, I knew that they were going to he let me know after they talked to him, and it was this Friday or Saturday.
So you're saying the first time that Michigan talked to Brady was Friday or Saturday?
No, I think there probably was something. I think the first time they met with him, yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You learned about that after the fact?
Correct.
So this was like the Minnesota thing?
Yeah.
Except the other one was during the season?
Correct. Yeah.